Hello friends, I'm Colonel Failure and you're watching the Colonel Reduced for October 2018. So there we go. Yeah, a little bit later than usual this month, and that's because I wanted to wait. I've got a pencil. Yeah, this is going to come in dangerous. I'll probably stab myself in the head with it. Anyway, yeah, it's a little bit later than normal this month because I wanted to get a few things kind of shorn up before I spoke to you, my people, this month, and that it will be quite obvious why in the next couple of minutes. Anyway, I've got a packed shopping list of items for you this time. Put a pencil down. Where should we start? I've done hello. Right, cross that one off the list. First things first, milestones. Not just one, two milestones I've passed in the last week. Actually, same day. Firstly, 29,000 subscribers now. Secondly, 7 million views on the channel. Fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. We've also tipped over the $1,500 a month mark on Patreon, which I put up there quite speculatively, but it means that I'm going to start something called the supply drop. Yeah, which means I need to get me acting gear and actually get some merchandise done, hilariously. So yeah, so what the supply drop is going to be open to everybody who backs me, no matter what tier they're on, and I'll do a giveaway every month. Your opportunity to win is really quite promising, I would have thought. So yeah, so that's all coming up. I'm thinking baseball caps as the giveaway because one size fits most heads. Or two sizes fit every head, pretty much, unless you are gigantic of head or very svelte of head. If you're one of those two things, then maybe it becomes a sporty desk ornament of some description. Anyway, yes, that's coming up. I will make sure that that's done before the end of this month. We'll get the first one of those rolling. It'll be some easy rubbish to enter. Don't know exactly what yet. Right, moving on. Right, that's milestones. That's that done. Let's talk experiments. So as you know already, I've been experimenting with my content for the last sort of month and a half. Maybe just under, maybe just over a month and a half that I've been really experimenting with my content, and I have learned everything I need to. There you go. I'll see you next month. No. I'll fill you in on what I've learned. So here's the thing: is the idea was, would fewer videos with better editing and more pizzazz have a more profound effect than the previous 7 videos a week approach to things? You know, would that drive quote unquote success better than I was doing previously? The short answer is no, but there's more to it than that. The big piece of that puzzle is, firstly, I hadn't found the right content during this kind of experimental phase, but more than that, you do get a kind of reinforcing effect by releasing every day, in that, let's say you do a couple of thousand views on a new video one day, well, that extra juice that you've got flowing through your channel promotes the next one just a little bit more, promotes the next one just a little bit more. And if you can nail a format whereby each video is improving as well, or each video has the opportunity to convert as well as previous did, then you've got something. I think if I were to expand out the here's stuff I'm going to learn from segment to incorporate the recent train sim stuff that I've done, and to incorporate series like Project Hospital and Depraved, then I think I've learned something actually quite valuable. I mean, the main one is that running a short series over 2 or 3 weeks works really, really well, because people latch onto that as a narrative, and if they're interested, they'll stick with it, in which case you get lots of lovely views out of that. And if they're not interested, well, you've got a new series coming up relatively quickly. My initial aim had been that Software Inc., where I have I've got such a good gag coming up for Software Inc. It's so good. Should land in the next week, next 2 weeks. It's really, really good. Could be written about good. Probably won't be, but it's got the right stuff. Frankly, if you thought the lingo blend nonsense that I did was pretty promising, this is the next level up from that. So I want to get that done before I pull the plug on Software Inc. I quite like the game. What became incredibly obvious to me in the last couple of episodes was I actually need to go and play the game. I need to understand it a bit better. Otherwise, I'm going to forever be just cycling the pan as far as making any money is concerned. And you want some forward progression, and ignorance is no excuse in that regard. I'm not going to stick with it long term. I was going to, but this comes into learning number 2. And learning number 2 is that the game chosen is still far more important to my channel than anything else. I had thought that between wrestling and Software Inc., the fact that the game isn't much to look at would be offset by the fact that the surrounding nonsense was of a very high level. The commentary that Captain Carter did with me on wrestling, I was very pleased with. We would have almost certainly done way better on the second one. The video was too long, needed to be about 12 to 15 minutes in total, needed to edit out quite a lot of the action that was going on in there. It just needed a bit more punch, but it was funny. The difficulty was that because I impose my sense of humour onto my viewers when I'm evaluating stuff like this. What would I find interesting? What would I find amusing or entertaining? And the fact that the game is a little bit janky to begin with was actually part of the appeal. I wasn't looking for a good wrestling simulator. I was looking for one where the AI behaves in a very strange fashion. But when I put it out, an awful lot of people just did not get it. Just didn't get it. Didn't get it at all. And that's not their fault. I mean, that's partly my fault for underestimating or misunderstanding my viewers. But yeah, didn't have it. I put a hell of a lot of work into that, and I don't think it's going to see an episode 2. If you'd like to see a second episode of it, voice your support now in the comments here, because I believe in it as a format. I think it is the kind of thing that when I've nailed it, will get spread far and wide and be enormous. But I haven't got it to the point yet where people understand what it is that they're watching. The reason that it could go so far and wide is because there were personalities built out through all those characters, and the interplay between those personalities would strengthen the desire to watch another one, in that people would have their favourite wrestler over time, and you could effectively replicate real wrestling of the WWE variety in a digital format with all the drama and yelling and makeup that goes along with it. So that's where I was wanting to get to with it, but nobody got it. Maybe the future Colonel Failure Sports channel would be the home for that. I think it's inevitable that there'll be a Colonel Failure Sports channel at some point. I'm actually talking to somebody at the moment about something along those lines, but it's so early that I shouldn't even have said that out loud. Anyway, right, okay, so that was wrestling, which was it was a good experiment, even though it fell on its face. I'm very pleased with the quality of presentation that we pulled together. I think Carter did a terrific job of being the secondary commentator. I don't know if it's obvious all the way through, but we recorded our commentary completely in isolation. So I put the video together and he went in completely blank, cold, with no leads from me, and just commented. I then edited his stuff. I put in some filler bits from myself to pull the whole thing together, and I think it hangs together really quite nicely. But it didn't work. Ah, shucks. That's why we experiment. You've got to experiment and get things wrong and see what you can learn along the way. Transport Fever is an interesting one because it has performed. Now, I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this in a reduced previously, but the goal was that instead of a Transport Fever delivering 7, maybe 6.5 to kind of 8K views over the course of its first week, if I could get that number up. Well, I have. It's now doing a minimum of 10K views a week. Ooh, and I don't think it's because the series is any better. I think it's because there was a certain core of viewers that I have who will watch every other Transport Fever because they only get time to watch one a week, or they only watch it on Fridays, or they only watch it at the weekend, or whatever it is. But it means that overall, I'm not doing 15,000 views on Transport Fever a week. I'm only doing 10,000, but that those individual videos are performing way stronger. The theory is that over time, that means that they do significantly better than they would have otherwise done. I don't think for Transport Fever that's the case. I don't think the game is spring chicken enough to carry that kind of reinforcing success. But it was a test worth doing. I'd love to return to. Would I? It's because it's a lot of work. That's the problem with Transport Fever is that even in the unedited fashion, it is quite a time consumer. I like the edited format that I've got going on now. I like the opening sequence that I've put together, where you've got the kind of the pre-recorded camera move with the status update and all of that kind of, the preamble and the music and the what year it is fade in thing. I like all of that. I think that's high quality, but the game is already mature. The viewing audience are already mature. I don't think it's bringing anything extra special to that particular party that I wasn't already capitalising on just based off doing the same old commentary style that I've always done. So will it return to being 2 a week? Probably. I would have thought so. I'm view hungry, man. I want the views, and lots of them, because every view that I get reinforces the channel's authority, which means the next thing I put out gains more authority, and the more I get people watching the videos, the more they subscribe, which means I get more people watching it. It's a self kind of perpetuating model. I've spoken to a channel consultant recently, not about my channel particularly, just about channels in general, and he's basically he basically said, once you get to 50K, you're done. That's it. That's your lot. I mean, because from that point on, YouTube upweights you to such a degree that you don't really need to do anything. It just drives itself. And I've seen that on numerous other channels of hitting that big benchmark there at 50K and then just kind of going, and we're away and we're off. It happens again at 100K. This time last year, I think Skystorm broke through the 100K mark, and now he's pushing 150. That's a good aspiration. That is, if I can get to 50 and then put a little bit more juice under it to get it to 100, then it bye-bye, it's off, it's running, it's spiraling away. Now, I mean, ad rates are dropping all the time. I don't know how I've spun onto this, because, look, I talk about it every time, that I want to do this stuff full-time alongside all of the other kind of personal projects that I've got going on, of which there will be news next month. But ad revenue can't be guaranteed. So the other thing that I need to start doing is more good, visible, bad company stuff. I've got a couple of events lined up that I will be communicating over the course of the next few weeks that you can get involved in. No, you don't need to record anything. No, you don't even need to talk on Discord. No, you don't even need to be on Discord. But you will be able to come in and join in the game, and then the results will be videoified and stuck out there. Streaming is another component of what I need to be doing more of. I haven't, since starting this kind of new experimental phase, I haven't fit into a fixed schedule of things yet, and I'd kind of hoped to do that. But actually, things are just too erratic. Things move around. Eximius last week is a good example of that. They turned up on Tuesday and said, "Do you want to try this out?" I said, "Well, it looks like a 5-player team game. I'll round up another 4 people from Bad Company who want to come play with me, and I'll just stream it." It's completely wrong for my channel. but we ended up having a whale of a time. I'd intended to test it on caffeine, for those of you who turned up, but then realised that you can't run a game on caffeine unless caffeine supports that game. It's not like another piece of recording software. I didn't know that. I do now, and so do you. So I mean, it was worth doing, and it was fun to play actually, and we were getting better, even if we were only playing the AI. Still had a good time. But yeah, okay, Bad Company games, a couple of them coming up. If you like 7 Days to Die, you're going to be first in the queue. On the subject of Bad Company games, the Electro Sports Football League has just finished its draft. I'm going to try and grab everybody and stick them in a room somewhere, and we'll chat about how the draft went and kind of do a season preview. I'm not intending to cover it every single week because, frankly, I don't think people are going to be that riveted by the footage that comes out. It's not Madden. It's really quite basic. But they might follow it along in the sense of it being relatively entertaining. If you, however, want to cover it more fully, be my guest. Absolutely be my guest. I'll happily star in your show on occasion. I'll happily be an also-ran in your show on occasion. It's your show. Quite happy to help you out with that. But in all honesty, it's not gonna do much as far as I'm concerned. Might do more for you. So if you're interested in being the voice of the Electro Sports Football League, let me know, and I'll hand it over. I'll just kind of go. It's all yours, and I'll turn up and do a little bit of, well, it went really well for us this week, and we won our 75th straight game. Could happen. Anyway, right, yes, there you go. So the other big learning, just looking at my notes, the other big learning is from the B series is that I was running beforehand. As I mentioned, if I can isolate a good game and run a good 2-3 week series at the most, then that does a lovely amount of momentum. I will be covering Project Hospital again when it comes out at the end of October. Just purely because I hadn't finished. I'd got stuff I wanted to do, and I hadn't cut anyone open. I had killed a couple of patients, and that was one objective fulfilled. But I hadn't got as far as I wanted to. So yeah, properly looking forward to that. I've got the Tropico flipping beta sat in my Keymailer account. It sits, as far as I can see. I am arguably going to do the best Tropico series of anyone on the internet, and no one will watch it. I know this because my style and tone when it comes to management games slots perfectly into Tropico. Everybody else will be going like, I saw Corrales had stuck out a video. It goes like, here's how you make maximum money out of it. And you kind of go, well, you're playing it wrong. It's not about making max. Stop trying to win the game, you fool. I play every management game like a role-playing game. Is that I am that thing, and if there's a laugh to be had by being chaotic in some fashion, I'm going after it. So yeah, Tropico and my channel line up perfectly. I played some Tropico 5. Only a few of you will be aware of that. There's a very short Tropico 5 playlist somewhere. Nobody watched it. Now, I mean, I missed the big window of opportunity there, but this one is going to fit right alongside Surviving Mars, alongside 2 Point Hospital, where it's had so much coverage that it's not going to do anything for me. Nobody is going to be searching for a Let's Play from anyone other than their existing favourite Let's Player. Now, for some people, maybe I am their favourite Let's Player. Good, lovely, splendid. More of you people, because you're amazing. But it's not going to actually drive any further growth from that. So I'd play it because it's the kind of game that I'll play anyway. I think I'll do a really good job in terms of making it fun to watch. But will it drive any better traffic to the channel overall? No, it won't. It won't do anything for me. I know, sad but true. Where I would benefit further would be to do another Rise of Industry series. And I'm going to. You know, Rise of Industry doesn't excite me. It's fun enough. You know, it's the kind of game that I find diverting, but it's not. It's not funny. It's really hard to get funny out of that thing. but it always performs really well because, you know, the Train Gang, they love that stuff to bits, to tiny little pieces, and therefore I get a lot of views, which drives more people into the channel, which drives the channel upwards. It's really tricky stuff, you know. We've spoken before about me and Train Guy, the hypothetical YouTube channel that specialises in doing train videos, and because I have a non-serious approach while having a serious sounding demeanour, a non-serious approach to these things, that juxtaposition works really quite nicely, and every train sim video I put out generates an awful lot of views. I was so happy with my Dance Dance Revolution train simulator video that I did. I giggled myself silly when I came up with that idea, and it worked really well. It's getting more difficult to make those videos funny because I'm getting better at it. There's little humour in everything going according to plan. Everything has to go slightly not according to plan in order to get maximum giggles. It's the unexpected that causes the mirth to arise, which is why I like little AI people to yell at, because it generates all that kind of stuff. But Train Sim 19's just come out, so I'm going to be covering that this weekend. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be good. That's all. That's a done deal. In fact, I'm even wearing my, hold on, this isn't a full striptease we're going on here. I'm wearing my engineer shirt. That was sent to me by the nice people at Dovetail. It's a Train Sim World t-shirt. It's because I did some Train Sim World stuff. They sent me a limited edition t-shirt. Oh, what a big timer. Yeah, other t-shirts may exist. Obviously, that means all my coverage is entirely biased. The fact that I know pretty much the entire studio in real life may also act in some kind of bias there. Anyway, but you knew that already. Besides which, I don't do reviews. I just play the thing. If it looks like fun, buy it. If it doesn't look like fun, don't buy it. If I make you laugh, subscribe to the channel. There you go. That's my policy. Right. Okay, good. That's that. Time for an edit point. Right, moving on. Motorsport is back. Dun, 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 dun. The first episode, hang on, I'm going to look it up. YouTube.com/Colonel Failure. That's me. That's my channel. I'm just going to push that button. You could load slightly quicker if you wanted to. Let's go and have a look. And I'll tell you how many people watched it. There are 190 for the sake of argument, people on Patreon. And of that 190 people, I've had 74 views on the video. Clearly, not all of you are into motorsport. Do let me know what you'd like instead. It's fine. I'm going to finish a season in motorsport, and then I'll move on to something else. Maybe baseball returns. I flipping loved playing baseball. I found that endlessly funny. But yeah, something offbeat, something that could be a once a week series. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll put it into the consideration mix for when motorsport is done. Anyway, the next episode is already recorded. It's coming up. You'll see it this weekend. Sorry, I've just pushed my notes in the wrong place. There we go. But yeah, that's coming. That's happening. That's a thing. I enjoy it as much as I did previously. It's good fun. The reason it got junked previously is because nobody was watching it. And as is so often the case, if nobody's watching it and it's not converting any new subscribers, why are you doing it? I'll quite happily sit through a series for fun or do a video for fun, and if nobody watches it, easy come, easy go. But if I am focused, as I am, on onwards and upwards and throw in my day job, then I need to be focused on growth. And that means doing things that everybody wants to watch. On which note, another video I did recently that was a one-off, Achtung Cthulhu. Well, I played a ninja move on that one because I know the publisher, and I said to them, "You haven't had any coverage. Do you want me to cover it for you? It would kind of sit on my channel." And they went, "Oh, would you?" I went, "Yes, that's why I'm asking." So they gave me a key. I had the only Achtung Cthulhu video up. That's the kind of insider slipstream move that we all love. I had the only video up. It has currently done 11,500 views because the game just launched. That's not bad for a one and done. 11,000 views is very nice. I'll give you the numbers. Here's the numbers. A good video that I should do more of gets 7,500 views in its first week. Actually, it gets 5,000 views in its first week. A good B series will do 2,500 plus, and the A series should do better than 7K. Right. So we all know the A series is Transport Fever. It does its numbers week in, week out, without fail. It is the engine that powers the whole of this train. And I've got one here. I'm supposed to have it up in 13 minutes. I haven't written the description yet. It's an hour and 6 minutes. It's a good one. It's got a nice tune at the start as well. Right, no, there we go. Clicking on this. So I'm just looking at some stats. Yeah. If I see one more Vimeo advert, I'm going to hurt somebody, even if it is on my own channel. Right, here we go. So, Achtung of the Cthulhu. I was very pleased. If you've not watched it, go back and watch it. It's like last week, something like that. Just watch the first kind of 3-4 minutes. I was really pleased with that opening. I thought it was, I thought it was funny. I thought it was charming. I thought the game itself was a little bit slow. But, there's just so many games these days. Overview. Here we go. Yeah, that video drove 16 subscribers. That's not bad, 16 subscribers isn't bad at all. Average view time, 10%. That's awful. My usual view percentage is like 35, 40%. And for it to do 10% means that people bounced hard off that one. But it did the numbers because I had the only video up on the internet. And in fact, in the search rankings, you search for Achtung Cthulhu, I'm number 2. Search for Achtung Cthulhu Tactics, I'm number 2. Cthulhu Tactics Gameplay, I'm number 2. Cthulhu Tactics Preview, number 4. Let's Play Achtung Cthulhu Tactics, I'm number 4. I've got great search rankings on that. Smashing. I'm not doing any more of it. No, I'm not into it. But yeah, for a one and done, thank you very much. A few more of those would be marvellous, but I don't want to be that channel. I am a channel for long series that you can really sink your teeth into. For those of you who know the channel Grey Still Plays, his numbers have done really nicely over the last couple of years, and his format is all one and done, two and done, three and done, something like that. I've got to get into shorter series, but that's what the whole B series concept is about. Is doing stuff that I can get in, get played, get out. The time when I was running, I think if you had spin tires going on, which was a flipping delight. That was just such a. I think that's arguably one of my best series, the spin tire series with Stegs, because it was just regularly funny. I keep pointing out to him, dude, that would have taken us places if we'd have persisted with stuff like that, because you've got a really good mix of characters that come out when recording it. It is Top Gear, right? As much as I am slightly politically diverse to Mr. Clarkson, there are similarities. I might not like that there are similarities, but there are similarities. And, Stegs was doing a very good Hammond. May doesn't really bring anything to that format anyway. If you don't watch Top Gear, good. But that's the thinking that goes into it. I was going like, I've got video game Top Gear here. What I need is a third presenter who is a unique voice. And that's what Ali was going to be. Or that's why Ali was recruited in the first place, is I thought, actually, one, she's American. Second, she's a she. That's a brilliant third voice to have in there. Just never quite gelled perfectly, because Ali's persona was very similar to Stegs's. So as much as she had a different voice, it was too similar in character to what Stegs was doing. So I think if I were to take that approach again, I would look for a probably American, probably female third host who was the expert, because that's what May brings to kind of the Top Gear environment, is he's the expert. He's the one who actually understands how engines work. You've got Stegs bringing overconfidence, you've got me bringing belligerence, and then you bring an expert layer to things as well, and it works. So yeah, what's going on with Stegs? Oh, okay, yeah, okay. His Stegs reduced. Flipping Stegs. He's just changed job again. It wasn't that he was unhappy where he was. He was quite happy where he was, but a really good opportunity came up. I won't tell you where it is, but there's a really good chance you'll spot him soon enough. He starts in about a month, but I'm not telling you what it is. But the stuff that we play, yeah, there's a good chance you'll see him. So he's going to be limited in terms of what he's actually allowed to record, and as such, there is no real opportunity for him for me and him to work together in the short term, which is incredibly frustrating because it was a great extra leg to the channel. I am regularly looking for people who might be able to be the yin to my yang, in a videographic sense. If you're not it, because I'll go through most of Kernel School people to try it out, and if it's not you, don't be like, oh, I'm rubbish or something like that. No, it's not the case. It's really not the case. Is if I find the right personality, it's why Stegs was ideal, is because it took no rehearsal at all. It took no pre-discussion. We just slipped into those roles immediately and just bounced off each other. And I'll know it when I find it. I don't think, could be wrong, I don't think any of the current Kernel School crowd are it. But I'm prepared to be wrong. And even though you might not be the channel that I am lusting after, I'm happy to appear in other people's stuff. I'm happy to come and play a game with you and you record it and put it out on your stuff. Totally cool with that. Just give me a shout. Absolutely fine. But a regular collaborator is the pièce de résistance that I am looking for. So there you go. Right, let's bring all this back in. Train Simulator. Now then, Train Simulator is an enormous opportunity. I just need to suck it up and be Trains guy. Now that doesn't mean the end of the B series as a concept. No, I think the B series is going to be around. I think the B series works really nicely, whatever that B series may be. But I need to be Trains guy. I've just got to accept it, that I'm Trains guy, and then I could possibly segue over into stealing all of Squirrel's audience. I've got nothing against Squirrel. He's a lovely guy. He's, in my humble opinion, he's not very funny. Whereas, I am dark. Oh yeah. Oh, know your own strengths, people. Yeah. So yeah, I think I could poach quite a lot of Squirrel's audience if I migrated over into Truck Sim. And that's related, right? My own Truck Sim series. If you've not watched it, the first few, they're quite funny because I'm really terrible. I genuinely not good at that. Reversing is a particular delight, but I think with a little bit more refinement, I could do a belter of a truck series. Yeah, but embracing simulators, and I think where Squirrel's come off the rails recently, not that he does rail stuff, is that he started to put in his own kind of vlog-based, his pilot license and all of that kind of stuff, which is fun to watch. If you've got a vested interest in Squirrel as a person, then yeah, it's nice to see what he's got going on. But it's not funny. No, it's nice, it's easygoing, and there is plenty of room for a nice and easygoing channel. But I'm gonna hunt down and steal his audience. Or I'm going to give it a go anyway. And the trick to that is going to be getting Train Sim into a format that both appeals to fans of Train Simulator, who tend to be quite a serious-minded bunch, but they quite like that I'm light-hearted about it while still being reasonably reverential towards trains, not going, oh, trains, they're lame. No, or saying like, huh, you're a fan of a train? You big nerd. No, that's not it at all, because I like trains. I've even got the I Like Trains t-shirt. Ah, yeah, I have. I'm gonna use that on a stream at some point and see if anybody spots it. The Trains kid. I like trains. Yes, it's because I am a casual train nerd. In that, I quite like them. Do I care about serial numbers? I don't give a monkeys about serial numbers. I like that they make a good noise and that they look quite beefy. I like muscle cars, see? And trains are muscle cars on rails. They're all about, all of that business. That's why I like trains. But it means that I can resonate with the proper serious-minded train fan without them feeling that I'm cheapening it somehow. Being poor at the execution doesn't really matter as long as you got some glamour shots in there, as long as you kind of go, oh, this is good, oh, let's push this, oh, look, I'm doing that. And plus it means that in the comments they get to show off their expertise and go, well, I think you'll find that what you should have done there was this and that and this and this and that and that and this and that. And it makes people feel good to be able to show off their expertise in that fashion. And I'm quite happy for them to do so. I genuinely don't mind people correcting me in the comments, which is probably just as well, because I do get stuff wrong and I really don't care. It's those poor souls who turn up week in, week out, still trying to tell me how to play it properly. To which I refer them to the front of the channel. I go, look at the channel header. Right, why have I written "you're playing it wrong" in my channel header? Why have I put that there? And it's because I don't care. You are the ones playing it wrong by trying to win. I'm just trying to have a good time. And if I can make you chuckle occasionally, I am doing my job. Right, anyway, right, I've gone all over the place here. So yeah, I'll probably do some truck sim to go alongside train sim. I think truck sim could work quite well. I'll do America because it's the new hotness where they're releasing stuff regularly, despite the fact that Europe is arguably more interesting and has more variety, and you drive on both sides of the road. Actually, I drive on both sides of the road anyway. It doesn't really matter what side you're supposed to be driving on. Hey, good jokes. And so I'll bring that along as well. So I am going to start ramping back up the number of videos per week because prior to switching down to 3, the channel was on a very good, strong upward curve. You know, the traffic was really starting to build. And it was, as much as a couple of train sim videos really drove that, it was also Depraved and it was Project Hospital that were proving to be solid. They weren't outstanding by any stretch of the imagination in terms of kind of metric performance. But what they were was absolutely going the right way. And retaining an audience. Right, I'm going to do one more bit and then I'm going to push off. The bit that I'm doing is I'm about to change job. And I don't know to what. I've been contracting for the past 10 months, and that contract's coming to the end. I've got a couple of different irons in the fire, and I've got a couple of independent irons in the fire as well. Don't know. The next couple of months are going to be interesting. Touch wood, fingers crossed, that I don't find myself without gainful employment for long, if at all, because the big chunk of change that I've got sat over to the side there, that's supposed to pay the tax man. I don't want to eat into that. You don't want to know about my financial problems, but, we play it fairly fast and loose with regards to a robust bank balance, let's put it that way. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to go through a transition in the next couple of months. I'm not worried about it. It's just that who knows where it'll end up. There's every possibility I end up in a gig that means that I do some streaming or stuff as part of the job. In which case I'll let you know where that is. I try and separate church and state, or I always have done in the past, where what I do on my own time is mine and what I do for work is something else, which is why I have a professional name and my internet superhero name. Some of you know my professional name. That's fine. You can tell other people. I don't mind that now. But I do try and keep them separate because I have when I'm doing my job, I have quite a serious, less jokey persona, and that's by necessity because of the nature of stuff that I do, and to kind of mix the oil of that with the water of my regular YouTubing action, it possibly might jar. I'm more comfortable with it these days, but so who knows. But there is one job in particular that I'm chasing after, which if I get is going to be absolutely brilliant, because it will give me a lot more time, and it will be in a related discipline, and it'll be great. But I'll let you know how that's going. I figured that part of the reason you like watching this, because you watch this for a reason, is that you've got a kind of interest in, what else you got going on. I'm going to do... okay, let's do that now. No, let's not do that now. Shall we do that now? No, let's not do that now. I'm going to do another Q&A at 30,000. It won't be 2.5 hours this time round. It'll be a bit shorter than that, but I'll do another Q&A. But I'll do it publicly. And that'll be, that'll be what it is, I suppose. One final bit, and then I'll push off. The new end sequence with me being on video is great. Works really well. People like it. I've had nothing but supportive feedback for that. And it also leads to an awful lot of outtakes. I've got another one that I'm putting together for Officers Club. The first one for Officers Club was quite good. But it's just such rubbish. Just such. If you want to hear what I say when I don't get it right... Oh yeah, I know. This is actually, this is unpolished. This is just me firing from the hip. And if I go off at a tangent for some reason, then I'll just enjoy that tangent. But because I have 50 seconds to fill at the end of each episode, I usually record 2 or 3 minutes. And that's not because I've got so much to say. It's usually because I haven't got much to say, and therefore I try and come up with anything to fill the time. Leads to some good stuff. I'll tell you that for nothing. But anyway, I've got another one of those coming up. Anyway, thank you for your ongoing support. You are marvellous people, and I really do appreciate it. I hope I'm delivering the kind of thing that you want to see. I know that none of you were particularly thrilled about the idea of me cropping back the number of videos I was putting out, but I wanted to try it out. The net result, as far as time was concerned, was I was spending about half as much time again actually working on polishing the videos. So I ended up spending more time doing it than the same. Don't tell herself that. I managed to spin a beautiful narrative where that all worked out perfectly. Didn't work out perfectly. So I'll probably ramp back up a little bit, probably to 7. Yeah, probably. I'd got into a kind of comfortable way of doing that. I'll ease back down on the polish. I'm going to keep the polish on Transport Fever. I'm going to keep Transport Fever at 1 a week for a little while longer, and then I'll probably go back to 2. I'll probably do a stream of some kind. I mean, that will help complete the flipping loop that I'm working on. That would work well. And Transport Fever streams are always a joy for everybody involved. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you very soon. Anything else I want to tell you? What else have I got on my list? Ding, 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 ding. No, I think we're there. Cheerio.